Preserving food. If food is left out for a long time, germs start growing in it. The food starts rotting. Rotting means food getting spoiled or food getting decayed or food getting decomposed. So that is called as rotting. Eating rotten food can make us sick. Eating rotten food will make us sick. That is mainly because rotten food may contain few germs. They may spoil our health. Food is therefore preserved to keep it from going bad. Going bad means mainly getting rotten, otherwise decayed or decomposed or spoiled. There are many ways in which food can be preserved. So in this paragraph we understood that if the food is actually left out for a long time, germs will start growing in it. Here germs means microorganisms. It is mainly bacteria and fungi. They grow on it and they spoil the food. Suppose if we eat spoiled food, there is possibility we may get sick. So we need to know certain techniques where we can keep the food fresh for a long duration of time. We'll learn those techniques now. First technique. Refrigeration. Refrigeration is the first technique to preserve the food we'll be learning. If food is kept in a refrigerator which is also called as fridge, the growth of germs slows down. Whenever we keep the food in the refrigerator, the growth of germs slow down because in refrigerator, low temperature is maintained. At a low temperature, many microorganisms or germs cannot grow. That is the reason the food can be kept fresh for little long duration of time. Food can therefore be stored for a few days. Long duration means here only few days in the refrigerator without going bad. Whenever we keep the food item in the refrigerator, it will prevent the growth of microorganisms or germs so that food can be kept like for a few days. Suppose like if we keep the food exposed on the table, it may come only for 1 or 2 days. Whereas if we keep it in the refrigerator, it may come almost for a week without getting spoiled. Now, so that is the first technique, refrigeration. Second technique is using preservatives. Some substances such as sugar, salt and oil, they slow down the growth of germs. Whenever we add sugar, usually sugar is added little excess. Especially when it is used for preservation, sugar, salt and oil. So when it is added, they slow down the growth of germs or microorganisms. They do not allow the microorganism like bacteria and fungi to grow on the food which contains sugar, salt and oil. They are added to food to preserve them for a long duration. They are mainly added to food. They are added to food to keep the food for a long time. Sugar, salt and oil. So these substances are called preservatives. Preservatives means the substances which are added to food item so that food can be kept for a long duration of time. Good example for preservatives are sugar, salt and oil. Pickle in your home is preserved with oil. You might have observed this. Whenever you open the lid of the pickle bottle, you can see one oil layer on the surface. So here oil doesn't allow the germs or microorganisms to enter the bottle. Okay, so that pickle can be kept for little long duration of time. Jams are preserved by adding sugar. A jam will be little more sweet. That is mainly because sugar is added to it. When a little more sugar is added, it acts as a preservative. You might have seen jamun, rasgulla dipped in the sugary syrup. That is mainly because sugar will act as preservative. Even you might have seen dried fishes. They are saline. Saline means salt is added to them. That is mainly because it also acts as preservative. Even dried meat also. For that also they add salt. Now the next technique is canning. In canning, germs are first killed. The food is then sealed in cans. Okay, before placing the food item in the can, in canning technique what they do, first they kill the germs. They use certain technology so that microorganisms can be killed. Even they may pass radiation. They may pass certain radiation to kill the germs. Later that food item will be stored in can. So this technique is called canning. The last technique is drying. Water is removed from the food item to stop germs from growth or growing. Remember, when water content is more in the food item, it gets spoiled quickly. So drying technique is followed. So drying of the food item is done artificially, or even it can be sun dried also. In the sunlight the food item is exposed and it is dried. Whenever the food item is dried, water content is removed. When the water content is removed, the food item can be kept for little more duration of time. Excellent example is dried grapes, resins what we call. Dried grapes, it is one good example for the food item which can be kept for a long duration of time through this technique called drying. So these are the different techniques we learned for preservation. First one was refrigeration, keeping the food item at low temperature to prevent the growth of germs. Second technique was preservatives, adding sugar, salt or oil to stop the growth of microorganisms. Third technique is canning. Before placing the food item in the can, sealed can, okay, the germs are actually killed and it is placed in the sealed can. The last technique is drying, where water is removed and the food item can be kept for little long duration of time.